working with. If you do 3 simple, repeatable things consistently throughout 2026, it must be a different year than the previous years. Just 3. The question is, which are the 3? Just imagine you are building a wall in 2026, and that wall is brick, cement, and water. So what are your brick, cement, and water? The 3 things which, if you repeat them, it will go from laying bricks to building a wall. That is our challenge for this coming year. The 5-day return challenge is a taste of what is coming in January, February, and March. A 90-day challenge that is called Return 90. And this program is going to be anchored on a different Bible verse, passage. But today, I want us to go back to the passage that we have been using. Please confirm that you can see the screen that I'm sharing. Are you seeing the big screen, or are you seeing the smaller one with black areas around it?
The big screen.
The big screen, fantastic. We are working for the 5-day challenge. We are working with the parable of the prodigal son, or some other versions call it the lost son. For the Return 90, we will use the story of the woman caught in adultery. And these 2 passages are just something else. I find them to be artistically 2 amazing pieces. Whether or not you believe in the Bible, you will not find as great a piece that communicates so much in so little time as this. So let's dive into this passage for the 5-day challenge, the parable of the prodigal son, or the lost son. There was a man who had 2 sons. That sounds like most Kenyan homesteads. There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, Father, give me my share of the estate. Give me my share of the estate. And so the father divided his property between them. Those few lines read like just a report, but this is actually not a report. In those few lines, there is a declaration of death, and that may sound morbid, but it's not. If you understand the culture where this is happening in the aristocratic Judean era, if you told your father to give you your share of his estate, you are telling him, I want to live as though you are dead. So give me what will come to me when you are dead. In other words, what he says here is so crucial. This is the foundation of his departure from that homestead. Not long after, the young son got together all he had and set off for a distant country and squandered his wealth with wild living. He is living physically, but he has already left emotionally. He has stood up to his father and told him, I want to live as though you no longer existed. So give me what would come to me. He had already declared, he had already emotionally confessed total separation. And the father did not question it, he honored it. After he spent everything, so he leaves physically and goes to live in a land where he no longer is bound by the same customs, the same rules, the same expectations, the same relationship dynamics. He is now wild, because that's what happens when you leave. If you leave and go, you are going to do wild living, and we will revisit this because you are going to the wild. He's going to a distant country after he had spent everything. He goes to the wild, but when he goes to the wild, he's armed with the wealth he came with. But that wealth is going to go away, and we will see him. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. As you start this challenge, this 5-day challenge, I want to give you one promise. By the end of this week, these 5 days, there are things you will see that you will never be able to unsee. And for him here, one thing that becomes clear as you go through this week is that he did not begin to be in need in the distant country. He was in need right from the word go, from when the story started. And that need drove him. He was looking for all sorts of shortcuts to fulfill that need. He began to be in need. He is unconscious that he is in need until when he begins to be in need at this time. And he went and hired himself to a citizen of that country. He has his culture, his customs, but because he has already lost what he was hanging on to, he has to find something else to hang on to, and hires himself to a citizen of that country, becomes subject to another set of expectations. And that citizen sent him to the fields. That citizen sent him to the fields to feed pigs. And this is a culture where no respectable person was expected to touch pigs or interact with pigs. This was the work of slaves. He's gone from a son living in a wealthy household to being hired out and sent to the field to feed pigs. His want never decreased at any time. That desire, that need he had from the home when he left, when he asked for his share of the wealth, continues to intensify, but it also continues to deepen where he's no longer desiring the more meaningful things. It goes down to the very, very base, to the point where he longed to fill his stomach. He longed to fill his stomach. He's not just hungry. He is another level of hungry, to fill his stomach with the pots the pigs were eating. But even that, even the very, very, very base, no one gave him anything. This was a journey to the metaphorical rock bottom. And he was never going to be able to come back to his senses until he got to this point where there is no longer anything external to hang on to. There is no longer anyone external to hang on to. Until no one gave him anything. It got to the point where he realized that there is a longing that even regardless of what he got, there is this longing, there's a particular longing that other people will never be able. And this is the point when he came to his senses. He came to his senses. That the hunger has peeled through all the layers. The hunger has gone through all the layers. It went through that environment. Maybe he was living in hotels. So it went through his environment. It went through his behaviors in wild living. It went through his capacity in terms of being able to manage the money he had so that he doesn't lose it. It went through the beliefs that drove him away from home. It went through to the identity of being this new rich kid that has come from some homestead and he has money and is helping us. All those layers were peeled until only the core remained. And the only thing you can hang on to is to find something that connects to the core. No longer about the environment, the behaviors, his capacity and skills, his networks, his beliefs, his core values. It's all those get removed because they were already fractured to the point where he stood up and told his father, I wish you were dead. Because that's essentially what he said. He hits rock bottom, and that's when his journey points back home. How many of my father's hired servants have food? How many of my father's hired servants who don't have a relationship of sonship with him have food enough to spare? And here I am not just starving, but starving to death. Once you peel out all these layers, you remember the most important things. In 2026 is the year we remember what matters. I'm going to stop this passage there and we will pick up. Please read this passage on your own, regardless of whether or not you've read it before. Every single time I read this passage and talk about it and consider it, it's just so simple and yet so profound. Maybe it's just this gentleman who left home. Or maybe it's this gentleman and me. I don't know about you. I don't want to speak for you. But have you ever left home? Have you ever had a certain restlessness which you cannot explain? You don't know why you have that restlessness. Have you ever had this feeling that regardless of how much you do or how much you accomplish, how much you experience, that there's always another layer, there's always another step that you haven't reached? In the US, I work with very highly skilled physicians. I work with some of the brightest minds you will ever see from anywhere in the world. And I will tell you that one of the most painful things in life is to arrive at exactly where you wanted to get to and realize you only brought your achieving self, your living self, the self that knows how to enjoy the moment, how to enjoy what you've worked hard for, how to be content so that you have sufficient room to receive grace and be rooted where you are regardless of circumstances, and then you can grow from there. Nothing more empty than winning a victory and victory and victory whose only role is to become the stepping stone for the next victory, such that no matter how big your victories are, you always feel like there's something else missing. Working with some of the very best doctors, some of the highest paid doctors in the world, has taught me one of the most fundamental things, that what you achieve, what you build, what you receive can only amplify what you have right now. That there is nothing I will ever achieve externally that will give me joy. The Bible instructs you and I to rejoice. It is not achieve and rejoice. It's not outdo or overcome or has. It is just rejoice. That capacity to experience joy, to experience peace, to receive grace and love, it does not depend on anything else except where we are now, what we have, remembering the most important relationship. And you see what happened to this gentleman. He leaves home, he runs from home, he doesn't realize that he's actually running home, except it's going to take him through so many steps along the way that eventually he returns where he started from. Because being able to enjoy that environment from a perspective of fulfillment and contentment and true appreciation, not verbal appreciation, but to actually feel it, is what he was hungry for. He was hungry for needs that many of us live through our life for a long time, and we don't know what the names of those needs are and how to fulfill them. Eventually, if we are blessed enough to learn, we can learn and begin to fulfill them. As you go back to that story, you will see at the very end, when his needs were met, they were met at a time when his mindset was actually off. His mindset was totally off, but those needs were met, and were met beyond his wildest dreams. I want you to look back at your life and see what comes in terms of what you have experienced, what you've accomplished, the places you've been, the places you've worked, where you live. And perhaps what you see does not fulfill your expectations. It's not what you expected to have at this time. It's not what you expected to be at this time. But what about the journey? If I spoke to the 5-year-old you today, and I tell them, I have a video I'm going to show you, and this is a video of you in the future. And I need you to remember that the 5-year-old you does not come burdened with the expectations and comparisons and external and internal voices of judgment that trouble us all the time. If I start the 5-year-old you here, and I took the highlights of the places you've been, the things you've experienced, what you have, the fact that you actually have a smartphone, you're able to log on to Zoom now, and I showed the 5-year-old you all that, what do you expect the 5-year-old you would actually say or feel? I didn't give this assignment last week because the assignment was going to be in 2 parts, and I felt that this was going to be heavy, and I think I was right. The first part ended up being really heavy. When I did this assignment, it changed everything for me. It changed everything because not in my wildest dreams would my 5-year-old have even wanted some of the things, some of the places that I have been. And I did this exercise removing everything that happened after medical school. I'm just looking at what happened between when I was that age all the way to the time that I go to medical school. And how much opportunity there is in each of these stages for me to actually be present, to live more fully, to live from overflow, not of what I want, but overflow of what I have right now. So I don't know what the 5-year-old you would say, the 5-year-old you would see when they look at your life, when they look at my life again now, every single time I go through this process. Because being blessed abundantly begins with being blessed with where you are, with the relationships, the opportunities to do what you can do where you are, live through the day and wake up the following day, sober enough to log on to Zoom and join a meeting that hopefully adds something to you that grows you. We will talk about 6 longings during this challenge. And the challenge for you and I is to be honest about how we meet these needs currently, without judging yourself, without comparing yourself. It took me a long time to swallow this and to fully swallow it and begin to digest it. You have everything you need. You have everything you need to live your very best life right now. You have everything you need to live your best life right now. Now, you don't have everything you need to live the life you want to compare yourself to. You don't have everything you need to live the life that will compete with the people around you. You don't have enough to live the life that social media shows you. But you have everything you need to live your best life right now. That's because meeting each of these needs, meeting your need for certainty, letting go of over-control, overthinking, decision paralysis, meeting your need for variety, becoming awake in your own life, realizing that the challenges that you face are opportunities for you to wake, to see your life with more open eyes. You look at this gentleman that we read about, He woke up at the very, very, very rock bottom where nobody's even giving him the pots the pigs were eating. The pigs are being fed, he's being skipped. You have everything you need to meet your need for significance, because your significance is independent of everyone else. This is who you were created with, the seed with which you came, that uniqueness that is incomparable to anyone else. You don't need to achieve, you don't need titles, you don't need to outwork anyone, to out-hustle anyone. You have everything you need to experience love and connection. And the one word I always add here is love, connection, and boundaries. Love, connection, and boundaries. Some people, the only way you're supposed to be connected to them is through boundaries. That's how you connect with some people. And then there are some people who are within certain boundaries. But you have to be significant. In other words, you have to be separate. You have to know that you matter without comparing, without defining, without achieving, without proving. You have everything you need today to experience growth. You have everything you need to get out of perpetual preparation for that same resolution you had in 2009 and then 2019, and it's about to appear again in 2029. That is probably a harsh thing to say, but it's true, unfortunately. If it comes off too harsh, that's not my intention. You have everything you need to contribute. And contribute in a way that leaves you full. Contribute from overflow, not where you have to empty yourself. The young man we read about was looking for these needs, but he didn't have the language. Because if he was looking for something that could only be found somewhere else, he should never have come back home. He came back home because there's nowhere he was ever going to go that he was ever going to have those needs fulfilled. Not certainty, not variety, not significance, not love and connection, not growth, not contribution. He was restless. Restlessness took him away from home, but he had to return. That is why this is the 5-day return challenge. Where do you need to return to? Where do you need to return to? Is it returning to the memory of who God designed you to be, whom you forgot and started becoming who the world wanted you to become? You became the excellent student, the best performing, the quiet student in school, the good girl who will carry the entire household chores. By 6 years old, you are able to cook for 15 people and carry the food, and you become a deputy parent even before you choose to become. The challenge of return is returning to that truth. If I was able to meet your 6-year-old self and I sat down and I only asked them, what do you want? Their words will be very explicit. Maybe we might need to go back maybe to 3-year-olds for some of us, because for some of us, by the time you're 6 years old, you have already been chopped. All the branches have been pruned. Your uniqueness has already been molded to look like everyone else. But that young version of you knows something. They know something that comes up late at night where you've had an amazing day, but there's something empty about that day. You went to the wedding and you showed up, you gave a gift, but the adult self is looking and saying, I only brought them a thermos, but look at what other people brought. But the 5-year-old you is like, we brought a blue thermos. That returning to that freedom that is still bubbling, that is still waiting within. Returning to that freedom, I can't tell you enough how much of a struggle it was for me to eventually let go of that expectation that when I'm speaking, people are judging me, people are comparing. I'm like, that's why I'm going to do it. And it took me years of consistently committing so that I just show up and speak, show up and speak, show up and speak. Between 2014, towards the end of 2014, all the way to 2017, I made a commitment that I am not going to make any prepared speeches. I am going to show up and speak. It was very annoying for my Toastmasters mentors because they would be like, Mogire, where is your speech? I'm like, I'm working on it. But that's because I committed that I'm not going to make any written speeches. I will prepare, but I will prepare by thinking through it. What is true in this thing that I'm trying to present so that I'm not trying to impress anyone? I don't know what return you need, what the 5-year-old you knows that is truly transformational. And I decided this second week, we go back to the basics. I have a presentation for each of the 5 days, but I'm not going to use them. I know in my heart what the truth is in each of those presentations. And for some of you who are joining for the first time, the videos for day 1 and day 2 are on my YouTube channel, Return with Dr. Jock Mogire. So you'll be able to see those. Day 3 was so raw, I decided not to record it. And that's because I wanted to actually process what came through. And I will re-record and share it. Day 4 will be available. Day 5 is on YouTube already. And so if you want the structured presentation, I'm very happy to give that to you. But here, this second week of the Return Challenge, can we now actually make a real effort to return? Make an intentional effort to return. Return to the truths we've forgotten. Return to that spontaneity that even if the world judged, it was the truest expression of who you are. Return to that freedom of saying what's on your mind, even if it doesn't mean you're going to tell people, at least you begin to tell yourself. You begin to reflect and write it down. What is my truth? Any weight you are carrying, any weight I am carrying. Do I have the willingness to be real with myself, to tell myself the truth? Am I comparing myself with other people? Am I competing myself with other people? Am I competing with other people? Am I judging my own progress, my own journey, my own growth? Am I free from criticism by my own self, first of all, even before I think about other people? Am I beating myself down? Am I holding myself captive with expectations that I have absorbed from the world, and I have made it impossible that even when I look in the mirror, I see mistakes, missteps, I don't see the beauty, the glory, the value that I bring to the world? Am I my own worst critic? Am I my own worst critic? Is it possible that I can return to my own number one fan? Not to buff myself up, but to tell myself the truth that frees me. The truth will set you free. The truth will set you free, but that truth has to be faced. That truth has to be spoken. That truth has to be returned to. It doesn't matter how beautiful the truth is. If it's truth and I've never heard it, I've never thought about it, I've never meditated on it, I've never reflected on it, it's not mine. It's just intellectual. Here is a challenge for right now, just where you are seated, okay? I want you to just take a moment, whether you close your eyes or you just take a moment and be aware where your body is and what your body feels right now. Is there any area that you feel tension? Is there any tension that you are becoming aware of right now that you weren't aware of? Certain weight that you can't put a finger on it, but you're becoming aware about it right now. Because your body has a lot of sensation at the same time, always present continuously, right? But we don't, that's not something we get trained to to listen to. If you grew up in an African household and you started crying, you probably had, or you probably have said it. I will give you a reason to cry, right? We are taught to detach and listen outside. So as you sit there, where is tension? Where is lightness? Where is coldness? I want you to feel your legs. Just become aware about them, aware of them. What does the ground feel like? Are you wearing socks? This is the container. God created me in this container for a reason. Because this container is the avenue for expression. You cannot express light without a bulb. You cannot. What is it that your Creator wanted to express through you by making you physical? Just like you cannot express, you can think about light, but you will never be able to create, to demonstrate light without a bulb. What is it that is meant to be demonstrated through me? And can I make that decision to consistently return here and realize that I may not be able to control God's business or your business, but this is my business. This is my business, this body, this soul, this spirit. And soul, that means this will, these emotions, and this mind. This is my business. Can I return to acknowledging what there is? Return without judgment. First of all, return to awareness. Just return and be aware. That's your challenge for this week. That's my challenge this week for 5 days. And I'm going to lead us to keep it real and simple and direct and very basic, but always directed towards what is true. I don't know what you've picked so far. I would like to see, just let's share some reflections. Let's share some reflections, and I'm going to call out a couple of people. Let's share some reflections. What has stood out for you in this segment? Is there any insight? Because this is how we learn, truly learn. I pray that you are actually showing up at this challenge with a pen and paper, because this is not intellectual. This pen and paper at minimum. I'm actually going to ask Gladys. Go, Gladys.
Trying to think about my 6-year-old self, looking at where I am and what they would say is amazing, because I'm just looking around myself and I can't believe how many things I've ignored that are beautiful and brilliant, and sometimes I'm like, I still don't have enough in this environment to stimulate my creativity. Yet when I look at it in my 6-year-old value. So just understanding that the truth, the reflection, and being real is really internal. It's an internal business. And it needs to be so intentional so that I can be very simple to understand, okay, if I need to pick 3 things right now to show I have everything I need, instead of thinking about how much battery time my phone has or how much little time I have before my next appointment. It's so easy to think from lack rather than from abundance. And that mental shift is more real today than any other thing.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. You just put in words for me what I experienced the very first time I went through this process of literally returning. This word return, don't be deceived by this word return. The day it gets to the moment when you can sit down and return and see the homestead where you grew up as a 6, 5, 7-year-old, right? So that you can reframe, totally reframe your mind. And I'm not talking to you, Gladys, it's everyone, including myself. You can truly reframe your perspective. It would transform everything. Because the first challenge that you, Gladys, and I, and everyone here we have is, can we mute the external voices? Just 5 days, mute the external voices, so that when I look at my life, there is absolutely no inclination to comparison. It's not going to happen in a day, but I will get there. You will get there. So that when you begin, be still and know. It is not be still and listen to the external opinions and then also know. Be still and know. Be still, that stillness has to be both external stillness and internal stillness. So for a basic fast, can we, if not maybe mute the external voices, can we reduce the volume on the external voices? Just continue reducing until we can hear them, but we can't even hear what they are saying. Because unfortunately, sometimes the external voices are as loud as the voice inside us. So it's me against the crowd of people I have gathered all through my life and my inner critic. I can't win. I cannot win. It's because these voices and inner critic is active when I'm asleep, right? So by the time I wake up and start thinking, they've already outdone me. And unfortunately, they see everything that I do because I give it to them, right? So thank you so much, Gladys. Can I see who else wants to share directly on, even if you don't have to come on video, if you could come on video, that would be fantastic. I'm going to call Betty. Are you available? Betty B, Christine, and Elsie. Okay, let's see who has unmuted. Betty, go ahead.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Betty. Go ahead,
It's a
Betty.
great morning, and I'm glad to be here once again. And what I would like just to say is that looking back, like being 5 years old, it brings into my memory about all those needs. Like I'm growing up, like a child, I was like, I want to be this, I want to be this, I want to be this.
Yeah.
And surely to the glory of God, at the moment I can say it has been really amazing. I've seen a lot in my life, like exactly what I wanted. Like I wanted to be in the path. In fact, I wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah.
But first, after Form 4, there was an accident. And when people ran, I found it was just a pathetic sight. And I found I didn't have that enough grace. And I realized that is really not where I wanted to be. So I found myself just where I wanted, in the area of engineering. And it has been an amazing job. Day after day, we learn. And I can't regret anything. But in this journey, there is so much that it entails. like the growth, just the way you are saying, people get money, you look at the people around you, but there is something that the human soul is never satisfied. So you need this one today, you need this one tomorrow. So why I really love this meeting is that it reminds me that there is something that the body, the mind, the whole being, the soul needs. And if you don't have to reach that stage of being satisfied with what you have every day, at the end of the day, you will always rush. You try maybe promotion, the way you are saying, but even when that promotion comes, it is not going to satisfy you. So there is something deeper that we need to know, and this is God. When you have God inside you, it is enough. So that is why I usually just love to dwell and also to seek the highest peace, that is God, that He gives. So as you do your daily day, at the end of the day, you say the day was beautiful. You thank God that the day is ended. And also leaving the people, sometimes you look at the people who have gone and you have to learn that at the end of the day, you retire. So as you retire, what are you going to leave to the world, or where you are doing business, where you are working, whatever thing God has called you to do? So this is where I really want to work for myself so that I don't end up regretting or living a life of regret. Maybe you are not satisfied, but every day enjoying my day. At the end of the day, I say, God, it was a great day. I did what I have to do. Tomorrow is a new day. May you guide me as we go on. So it has been I'm new, and every day is a great day. I learn every day. Thank you. I appreciate you, and may God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Betty. Thank you for that. I'm not going to recap everything you said. That was a beautiful share. And welcome to Return 90. I reviewed your application a little earlier. So I look forward to have you in Return 90. I have read all the reflections that you've shared, but I will tell you one of the ones that has definitely caught my eye is from Liz Alma. Oh my goodness. This is what Liz has written here. My reflection is, who am I minus all the seemingly outward achievements? That question by itself. Who am I? Oh my. Thank you, Liz, for sharing this. Second question she shared is, do I still have my original identity? I think everyone should write this. Make sure you write these questions down and then you come back to them later when you reflect. She wrote, or I lost myself in the chase, where the chase is in quotes. Who am I doing it for? Oh my goodness. That's, of all the questions you've shared there, that is at the heart. That is at the heart of all those questions. Who am I doing it for? When you set your goals for 2026, when you pick your resolutions, when you create your schedule, as you envision what you want to accomplish in 2026, who are you doing it for? I'm going to sit down with these questions. I've done a version of them, but I'm going to take them, Liz, the way you wrote them. And everyone, please pick those questions. And for what purpose? To meet which need? That is the core question of Return 90. To meet which need? If you are going to the gym this year, are you going to the gym to meet certainty? Or is it variety, to create a break in your schedule? Or is it significance? Do you want to grow a muscle or to be toned so that you build your summer body? Or is it for love and connection? Is it because you want to create a community there? Is it for growth? You want to become more, you want to become stronger, you want to become more consistent by doing something that stretches you? Or is it for contribution? Are you going there to give? Whatever goal you are pursuing, it has to be linked in some way. It is linked to meeting some of these needs. And here is the cheat code. The goals that will transform your life in 2026 are goals that meet more than one need at the same time. The goals that cut across more than one need at the same time. If, for example, I teach a class, it gives me variety because I'm no longer reading EKGs and echocardiograms in cardiology. I'm doing something different. It gives me significance. It allows me to remember that I'm created with unique value. It may not be the best on someone's scale, but this is the best I have, and I'm giving it from that core of believing that I have something significant. It helps me with love and connection, especially the connection part. I have my biggest network outside medicine are people I have coached, people I have trained. Some of you here, we have been in contact with you through the years, just because of the work that I do. Growth is a must. I have read, especially the New Testament of the Bible and all the parables of Jesus because of this work. And because I decided I'm going to anchor my teaching on the parables. There's nothing better than those parables. That is absolute growth. It took me out of perpetual preparation. Can you imagine if I was seated still preparing to start the 5-day challenge? I'm not sitting preparing. I didn't wait for it to be perfect. I started with Momentum Challenge, the first, ran it for 3 years. Then I did Momentum and Breakthrough Challenge. Then I did Momentum and Breakthrough and Transformation Challenge. And the 1 year when I had the 3 challenges run back to back ended up being one of my most significant years. It's like a watermark year that changed everything. Doing this work gives me contribution. So this is one of my most important goals in 2026. Not because it gives me money. There's nowhere here I've talked about it giving me money, but it's meeting for me needs which no money can buy. Right? It's not even meeting my certainty. It's meeting variety, contribution, growth, significance, love, and connection. Like by the time I leave here, I need to sit down for 15 minutes to meditate so that I can calm my mind before I can sleep, because I leave full, I leave stimulated. The cheat code for you in 2026. What are the needs? What are the goals that meet multiple needs? Because you know what that does? It sets free that version of yourself that knows the truth. That version comes through. Your younger version that was suffocated by people and teachers and pastors and wherever it was, external voices, without blaming them, telling you who to be instead of creating a space for you to be who you are created to be. The cheat code is goals that help you fulfill more than. If you have 3 domains and you identify the one thing to do in each of those areas, and those domains meet your most important goals, you will never be burnt out, you will never be overwhelmed, you will overflow with new energy you never thought was available to you. You will face discouragement, but you will face discouragement the way you face drizzling rain. You walk through and go where you're going, and you don't stay there complaining about the rain. So please remember these questions that Liz Alma shared with us. Who am I minus everything external? Do I still have my original identity? And this is the question of return. Or did I lose myself in the chase? Who am I doing this for? For what purpose and to meet what need? There are beautiful additional reflections. I am not going to review all of them. Every time you come back to the meeting, this should be able to pop up. Thank you so much for the opportunity to walk with you through this journey. May the 5-day return challenge begin. That was day 1. And I will hand over back to Gladys, consistent Muhunyo. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's appreciate Dr. Mogire for day 1 of week 2 of Return 90 Challenge. I also feel like I was also in day 1. because there's so many things I've picked today. Let's hear from someone who is new. Kelvin, represent the male gender. Kelvin, you said earlier today that you are new. Tell us, how do you feel after today's session? Kelvin?
Thank you, Gladys. Thank you, Job, Dr. Well, it's mind-blowing, it's exciting, it's quite an eye-opening, and it's awesome living a life of purpose and living a life of fulfillment. Knowing that in everyday engagement, you find there's and joy in whatever you do. That even come closure of what you do, you have the energy to do it again and again and again. So looking forward for more sessions, and I'm happy and humbled for this. Thank you, and good day,
Thank
guys.
you, Kelvin. Thank you, and look forward to seeing you the rest of the week. Sally, can we hear from Sally Mwangi? Good morning, Sally. I see you're on the second week with us. What's your takeaway for today? Sally?
Oh, hi, Gladys. Sorry,
Hi.
I had to rush to unmute my phone. My takeaway from today would be trying to make that connection between my achieving self and my living self, because I feel like I've been caught up in moments of, yes, I have achieved, but I'm really unable to enjoy in the moment because all I can really look at are my shortcomings. So for me to hear that and to process it, it's been very eye-opening, it's very invoking, and I'm very excited to carry on with the return challenge because these are the connections that I need to make. So thank you so much for facilitating. Dr. Job Mogire, thank you so much for being here. Your work is truly priceless. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sally. Peter, finally, let's hear from Peter. Peter, good morning. What's your reflection for today? Did you join us for the first time?
Good morning.
Good morning, Peter.
It's I'm not joined for the first time, but I joined some minutes late. Yeah, but what I've picked is I need to look into myself and find something in me that despite all that is working or happening around, I'm able to pick that one or two things that will keep me going despite what challenges I'm facing around me, that will build my core despite all the noise around. Yeah,
Fantastic. Thank you, Peter. Look forward to seeing you on time the rest of the week. Back to you, Dr. Mogire. Something parting shot?
I can't wait to see what we will accomplish the remaining 4 days of this challenge. If you have other people you know would actually enjoy this, invite them to come along. But most importantly, I want to remind you about Return 90. Return 90 will... I always hesitate before I say this, but Return 90 will transform your life in ways you've never imagined. We already have 14 people signed up. My intention was to offer only 15 slots. I'll make them 20 just because there are some people who have requested and they haven't gotten back. If you would like to join Return 90, please join before it fills up. It will not be open after Christmas. It's this program. I charge people here $1,500 per person for 60 days, but I'm only charging 45,000 Kenyan shillings. You will look back and be glad you did it. So I can't wait to have more of you pick up the remaining slots. But more importantly, please read the passage from Luke, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you so much, Gladys, for facilitating.
A big applause for our coach, Dr. Mogire, and the link for application is on the chat. If you wish to apply, please click on the link and apply. It is a beautiful Monday morning. Looking forward to seeing you every day of this week. Have a beautiful and blessed morning.